Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Today, many of us are also standing in our own battlefields. Not with weapons, but with stress, confusion, fear, relationships, and purpose in life. The Gita is not a book of religion alone. It is a manual for life. It teaches us how to make decisions when we are confused, how to stay calm in difficult situations, how to perform our duties without fear, and most importantly, how to understand who we truly are. Let's start from what is science of the soul.
Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking something truly fascinating. We're taking just a single stanza from an ancient text, the Bhagavad Gita, and decoding what is, honestly, a masterclass in psychological manipulation and diplomacy. You know, on the surface, the text might just seem like a really simple observation happening on a battlefield. But just beneath that surface, well, there lies a massive iceberg of historical grudges, political strategy, and some incredibly intense psychological warfare.
So, I want you to ask yourself, how much psychological warfare can you actually fit into just 4 lines of text? When we're reading translated historical documents, it's so incredibly easy to just skim over a sentence, right? We tend to just take it at face value. But today, we're going to decipher a hidden code of political rivalry packed into a single ancient stanza. The level of sheer calculation we're about to uncover in this one statement is absolutely astounding.
All right, so here is the verse in question. It's Bhagavad Gita 1.3. It reads, "O my teacher, behold the great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupada." Take a second to let that sink in. If you just read the literal translation, it sounds incredibly mundane, doesn't it? It basically just sounds like a commander pointing out the enemy troops to his teacher. But as we're about to see, literally every single word here is a calculated strike. So let's peel back the layers.
To really grasp this, let's move to part 1, the context, and a history of rivalry. Let's see how this all builds.
First things first, we've got to look at the speaker of this quote. His name is Duryodhana, and the source text explicitly describes him as a great diplomat. So he isn't just making some casual observation about the weather or the enemy's troop formation. Not at all. He's acting with a very specific, highly manipulative agenda. And his target? His very own commander-in-chief, Dronacharya, who also just so happens to be his former teacher. You see, Duryodhana wants to deliberately point out his commander's past defects so he can control his future actions.
All of this stems from an epic, historical grudge match. Years ago, there was this fierce political quarrel between Dronacharya, our commander, and King Drupada. And because of this massive falling out, King Drupada actually performs a great sacrifice for one specific benediction. He wants a son who is explicitly prophesied to kill Dronacharya. Eventually that son is born, and his name is Drishtadyumna. Now here is the incredible, almost unbelievable irony of this whole story. Dronacharya knew perfectly well that this boy was born to kill him. Yet, acting according to his nature as a liberal, open-handed teacher, a true Brahmana, he didn't even hesitate. He actually taught Drishtadyumna all of his military secrets. And now, cut to the present day on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, that very same student has taken the opposing side, using those exact military secrets to arrange the enemy phalanx against his former teacher.
Which brings us right into part 2, the subtext and the masterful diplomat.
Now, what's really interesting here is the psychological chess match happening right on the edge of this massive battlefield. Notice the contrast in language. Duryodhana uses the Sanskrit word dhimata, which literally translates to very intelligent, to describe the son of Drupada. But as we know, context changes absolutely everything. Duryodhana is definitely not complimenting the enemy's intellect. He's using some incredibly heavy sarcasm here. It's a mocking insult directed squarely at his own commander. He's essentially saying, "Look at how intelligent your disciple is. He took all of your military secrets and is now using them to arrange an army to kill you." He's intentionally twisting the knife and highlighting Dronacharya's fatal idealistic mistake.
So you might be wondering why on earth bring this up right before a massive war begins. Well, Duryodhana has some highly specific psychological goals. By pointing out Dronacharya's past mistake of being way too liberal and generous with Drupada's son, he wants to force his commander to be utterly 100% alert in the coming fight. He's actively using guilt and past errors to manipulate his commander's current mindset. He needs to ensure that Dronacharya becomes completely uncompromising, absolutely preventing any chance of leniency toward the enemy Pandavas.
But wait, the plot thickens, and here is the core conflict of interest that really has Duryodhana sweating. Over on the opposing side, the Pandavas, is a legendary warrior named Arjuna. Now, Arjuna wasn't just any student. He was Dronacharya's absolute favorite, most affectionate, and most brilliant student. Duryodhana is terrified by this. He knows his commander has a deep, almost paternal love for Arjuna, and he is worried sick that this affection is going to compromise the entire war effort. So he brings up the past mistake with Drupada's son as a stark warning. He's basically saying, don't let your affection for your students blind you all over again.
And that sets us up for part 3, the takeaway and the danger of leniency.
While we're looking at ancient political maneuvering here, the ultimate lesson Duryodhana is trying to hammer into his teacher is timeless when it comes to conflict. If we trace Duryodhana's logic, it looks exactly like a brutal 3-step progression. Step 1, affection for former students. Step 2, that affection inevitably leads to leniency on the battlefield. And Step 3, leniency leads to the utter defeat of their entire army. Duryodhana is drawing a straight, terrifying line from his commander's heart directly to their complete destruction.
So, the crucial point here is absolute. Leniency equals defeat. Duryodhana is really driving home this ultimate warning to his commander. In this highly charged environment, in this exact life-or-death moment, there is literally no room for sentimentality. To hesitate because of past affection is to invite death.
And this brilliantly illustrates the massive internal conflict being forced upon Dronacharya. I mean, on one hand, you have his very nature, the liberal Brahmana. He was a teacher who shared knowledge freely, without a second thought, even with someone prophesied to destroy him, because that was his dharma, his sacred duty as a teacher. But on the other hand, you have what Duryodhana is demanding he become right now, the uncompromising warrior. It's this profound, heartbreaking clash between one's inherent good nature and the brutal, unforgiving demands of immediate reality.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a thought provoked by this 5,000-year-old text. Duryodhana used a literal masterclass in diplomacy to highlight how a virtue, like a teacher's genuine affection, can actually be turned into a fatal weakness. It really makes you wonder about the balance of our own loyalties, right? When does our affection become our greatest vulnerability? How often do our past loyalties or idealistic tendencies completely blind us to the harsh realities standing right in front of us? It's a heavy question for sure, but definitely one worth pondering. Thanks so much for diving into this with me. Keep asking questions, keep analyzing, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.
Hare Krishna.